Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. Yay, Wednesday. Yesterday, if you were on my channel, you will know that I was super annoyed because it was only Tuesday and I said it felt like it was already Friday with how much has been going on this week. And I was like, oh, can't believe it's only Tuesday. Now it's Wednesday, so we are making changes. And if you are we are making progress, not changes. Oh my gosh, where's my brain? You know why I'm so excited? I am so excited this morning because I got a message in my DMs from Sherelle of Sherelle's World, which is a larger content channel similar to what I do. She does a lot of reality television. And she's 151,000 subscribers. And she messaged me to say that she absolutely loves my content and loves my opinions, especially when it comes to the ladies from Teen Mom. And she wants me to go onto her channel so her subscribers can meet me. I'm so excited about that. I know a lot of you follow Sherelle and are big fans of hers. So I sent her an email, so thank you so much, Sherelle, for listening and for watching and, reaching out. I'm super excited. Hopefully I will hear back from her later today, but that's awesome. I absolutely love working with other creators. Okay, so we have some news today, and we're going to talk about a few things. We've been doing a lot of stuff, kind of digging into the Institute of Basic Life Principles, because on the Duggar content, I feel like it would be very easy to just sort of follow them on Instagram and be like, oh, it's a cute baby photo, or oh, it's a cute, so-and-so got married. I can't believe they're so adorable. But I think it would be a disservice if we didn't sort of acknowledge some of the issues that TLC just refuses to talk about on the show Counting On. And so what I like to do on this channel is when we talk about the Duggars, I like to also talk about where their beliefs come from and why certain things are problematic, okay? So I wanted to talk with you about the trait that Duggar men appear to look for in a wife. So last week we did a whole thing about marriage, and actually I've done 2 separate streams about marriage. Way back when I just started doing Duggar content, I talked about, what the marriage advice was from Jim, Bob, and Michelle to her kids, okay? And we talked about some of the ways that they encourage their children to behave in marriage, okay? And we know that there's a specific subset that women have a specific role and men have a specific role. But when we look at the adult Duggars, you'll notice a significant difference between the females and the males adults. So Ginger and Jessa and Jill and Joanna are all married. And Jill has married someone who didn't necessarily grow up in the fundy world, definitely came from a conservative, legalistic Christian background, but not necessarily as conservative as the Duggar world. He went to school in the public school system. He went to, public college. He was raised with only one sibling, a lot different. And because of that, he doesn't seem to hold a lot of the same beliefs around, women's wearing pants and women not working outside of their home, because his mother worked outside of the home. Derek's mother actually has a master's degree. So education is important for them, and Derek's in law school. And then you have Jessa, who married Ben, and Ben does come from a more fundamentalist family. But the interesting thing is Ben is a bit more passive and definitely doesn't seem to be the kind of guy that's going to roll over and tell Jessa what to do, because Jessa, if you know, she has a very assertive personality and she likes what she likes and she doesn't like what she doesn't like. Everyone says she's sort of the fan favorite, but the sisters have always talked about kind of what a difficult person she is. And even her mother said that she can be very opinionated and very forthright, which isn't a bad thing, but in the Duggar world, that's not a good thing. And then you have Ginger, who went out and married Jeremy, who also doesn't come from the funny background. He comes from a religious background, but he was saved later in life. He was a professional soccer player. He went to college. You know, he's had world experience, and he's also 6 years older than her. And he said that one of Jeremy's traits that he looked for, that he loved about Ginger, was that she had a meek personality. Ew. And then you have Joanna. Now, Joanna's situation is a little bit different because Joanna actually, Austin picked her, and Austin actually comes from the same belief system. Their family pushes the IVLP. So in terms of all of the girls, the one that has the most strict husband and the most strict requirements would be Joy and Austin, because Austin's family very much practices all of the specific teachings of the Institute of Basic Life Principles. They teach blanket training, and they have Michael and Debbie Pearl come to their camp at I think it's like in Fort Rock in Arkansas. So Joy would be sort of different than the rest, but you know, Ginger and Jill are like on their own path. Jill has her nose pierced and she wears jeans, and they're all kind of doing working outside of the home, which is not typical. But the men have taken different tracks, right? So the men have all married women that have been a lot younger. So Joe married Kendra, and he actually married Kendra when she was super young. She was only 19 when they got married. Josiah, he actually married Lauren when she was only 18. John David is 2 years older than Abby, and I think Josh and Anna are actually around the same age. But the biggest difference is that the people, the mates that they chose, all come from backgrounds in the fundy world. So Kendra's father actually is a pastor, Pastor Caldwell, at the Lighthouse Baptist Church in Arkansas. He's extremely conservative, very legalistic, believes that a woman should be submissive and that we should follow the Bible to the law, no interpretation, that's it. He's very controversial. He's notoriously handed out flyers about people in the LGBTQ plus, like going to hell. He's nuts. Then you have Lauren, also comes from a fundy background as well. Her family, she was homeschooled. Her family, they went to conferences for the IVLP. So she's been sort of conditioned to be a certain way and expected to live a certain way. And she's on track. She and Kendra are both on track to having a lot of kids, because I literally just looked online and Lauren's 21. Or she's only 20. She'll be 21 this year. And she's already had a baby and been pregnant twice. And then Kendra is already had 2 children in 2 years. And she's still really young as well. And then you have Abby and John David got a little bit later, but she's still younger, and she also comes from that fundamental background. And all things that they're looking for in one wife, well, according to a source on Reddit who dated somebody who was a friend of the Duggars, her ex-boyfriend was a friend of the Duggars, says that I dated a friend of the Duggars and can confirm that exactly what many of the guys are looking for is a doormat. It's really a terrible thing to realize someone only wants to be with you because they think they can program you the way that you want. So the men appear to want to have a woman that's extremely submissive. They want a woman that will not fight back. They want a woman that understands her place. And if you notice, none of the men in the Duggar family, John David, Joe, or Josiah, none of them allow their wives to wear pants. All of their wives wear skirts. All of their wives, John David, Abby did work, so I don't know if she'll continue to work. But Anna stayed with Josh despite everything he's done to her and all the crap he's put her through. She stays because Anna grew up in the fundy world as well. She and her sister, oh my God, I found Anna's sister's YouTube channel. It's Looney Tunes. I should show you some of the crap from that page, but I digress. But when I started looking into this, I was looking to a couple different things. Why are they looking for women that are so submissive? Well, partially because, when their parents are grooming them and teaching them about this, one of the first things that the newlywed advice that Michelle gives to newlyweds is that wives should be available to their husbands. So apparently, she said, I'm going to pass on advice that was given to me by a dear friend. Whenever I speak with groups of other moms and married women, I share this advice, and it's been the best advice and has ever given to me in my relationship with my husband. This is so weird, you guys. She's only been married a few years, but she had very wise advice. It was about 6 months out from getting married, and I was just all bleary-eyed and in love, and I couldn't wait to be married and be called Mrs. Jim Bob Duggar. And she said, Michelle, I know you're so excited. You're a bride-to-be, but someday you will be at this point. I've been married for 3 years, and I'm still happily married. I have one child. We're expecting our second, and I'm big pregnant. You've got to remember this. Anyone can iron Jim Bob's shirt. Anyone can make him lunch. He can give his lunch somewhere else, but you are the only one that can meet that special need that he has in his life for intimacy. You're it. You're the only one. So don't forget that he needs you. So when you are exhausted at the end of the day, maybe from dealing with the little ones, and you fall into a bed exhausted at night, don't forget him, because you and he are the only ones that can have that time together. No one else in the world can meet that need. Well, not for Josh. Josh went to Ashley Madison. Whoops. So be available, and not just available, be joyfully available to him. Smile and be willing to say, yes, I'm here for you, no matter what. Even though you are exhausted and big and pregnant, you may not feel like it. I'm still here for you, and I'm going to meet that need because I know you need it. And she says, I've realized the sweetness of that through the years. What? That I am always joyfully available to him in terms of he'll lay down his life in a way. He will sit there and listen to everything I need to tell him, because he knows that I'm there for him too. So she knows that if she puts out, Jim Bob will be there for her. How gross is that? I'm meeting his needs. He's meeting my needs. So I'm doing this for you, so you'll do this for me. That's weird. That's so weird. We're willing to be there for each other, and each of us has different needs in a marriage. Relationship, and that's so precious. I'll share that advice with Jill so she knows that she's got to be a wife first, and then later, Lord willing, she'll be a mother. Her responsibility before God and Derek needs to come first. It's not just the Lord, it's me and the Lord and my husband. So she is telling her daughters, no matter what, no matter what's going on, no matter who's involved, they need to be available. Okay? So creepy. Joyfully available. Okay? So then I wanted to show you some stuff related to the IVLP. Okay? So the guys want a wife that will do basically whatever they want, whenever they want. No matter what, they are not supposed to say no. And there's no such thing. Like, if you read more into it, a woman isn't even allowed to take breaks if she's sick. And she's not allowed to take breaks from her duty even when she's on her menstrual cycle. She is required to do other things to keep their husbands happy. There is no such thing as no. So why is this the way it is? It comes down to the requirements that are put together and set forth by the IVLP. And all of the boys, Josiah, Joe, John David, and Josh, are absolutely 100% still invested in that organization. And it says, the role, what that institution expects of a woman is to respect your husband. So the specific role is that husband and wives are defined in scripture. Let every one of you in particular so love his wife as himself. A wife who respects her husband's leadership and submits to him strengthens the marriage relationship. So submission, again, doormat. Accept your husband as your spiritual leader. Your husband needs your support and affirmation in this area. Because he may feel weak and insecure, he takes on these responsibilities. Your husband is in charge. You must submit. Appeal to your husband, but only do it behind closed doors. So if you think that something's going wrong with your husband, only do it privately. You have to take care of what you look like. That's why all of these girls have their hair curled. Bill Gothard loves long, curly hair. They all wear makeup. They all are thin because according to this teaching, women must maintain their weight. They must not be overweight. They must look good for their husbands. They must get done up for their husbands at home. And it says a godly woman's main focus will not be on outward fashion and beauty trends, but rather on the timeless beauty of inner qualities such as faith, strength, joy, weakness, and love. However, they're also supposed to develop outward beauty by maintaining a specific diet, not overeating, making sure they take care of themselves, looking pretty, and having other people admire how they look and have other men admire them as well, so that they are applauded to the husband about what a great wife that woman is. You're supposed to be grateful for whatever's happening to your husband, whatever your husband does. And this is what I find really disturbing. When you expect and demand that your husband does certain things, your husband becomes a prisoner of your expectations. In time, he may lose hope that he can please you, and he will react in the absence of gratitude for things he does for you. He may even try to influence you to lower your expectations by not doing the things you ask him to do so that you will stop nagging him. A man in the position becomes vulnerable to other women who show gratitude towards him. So basically what you're supposed to do, because he will get, if you start nagging him and you start having expectations and you are not satisfied with what your husband is giving you, you are not supposed to say anything because he'll find it somewhere else. And you just need to be grateful for what he does no matter what. No matter what. You need to stay happy. You need to be sweet, which is common also in the LDS. Accept your husband's need to protect you. So his protective instinct drives him to guard his wife from danger, hardships, excessive pressures. And when you accept his protection with appreciation, your husband finds fulfillment and joy in meeting your needs. Protection means control. He'll control what you wear, where you go, who you hang out with, who you talk to, who you associate with, what you eat. Again, doormat. Respect your husband's need for alone time. So your husband can spend as much time alone with God and by himself, but a wife, no. She doesn't get to have that same thing. She has to tend to the house, be with the kids, but after their house, the man is supposed to provide for the family, and if he needs to come home and just not even spend any time with his kids, you just need to respect that because you can't complain. You need to be sweet. You need to be available. So all of the boys in this family are looking for women that will be their specific sort of doormat and submissive, which is a lot different than what we're seeing in the women. And it's disturbing. And I think even though that person wrote on Reddit, like, I know that this is what they're looking for, it's evident that this is what they're looking for by how they're taught, by their mother, by their father, and by Bill Gothard's Institute of Basic Life Principles. So, what are your thoughts about this? One thing I've been getting a lot of requests for on this channel has been to do more insides knowledge about these different organizations, and that's why I've been doing a lot more of this, because you're asking for it. So if there's other things that you want to learn about, like for instance, I had someone who's doing a lot of advocacy right now for issues that are going on with the Jehovah's Witnesses. If that's something that interests you, let me know. She said she would be willing to help me sort of disclose all kinds of things that are going on with that organization. I actually have a keen interest in that because my high school boyfriend was excommunicated as a JW while we were in high school, and it was our relationship that was a catalyst to him getting kicked out of the church. And he lost his entire family. So that's kind of how I got into all of this, was because my high school sweetheart was thrown out of his family because he decided he didn't want to be in a cult. And that kind of formed me. You know, when you start dating someone when they're 17 and they're involved in something like that, and you see how that harms them and what it's done long term to that person, it's hard not to have a compassion for it, because you realize how how deeply it affects people. And so that's a secret I don't think I've shared with you guys, but that's why I've always been so passionate because I saw what happened to my ex-boyfriend Dean, and it's never left me, and it was a huge part of my adult, like I was with him for over 2 years. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, let me know. And if there's other sort of communities that you want to dive into, we can do that. I know some of you had asked more about like the AUB, which are the sister wives. We can also do that. So let me know in the comments below. And if you are not surprised or are surprised or what your thoughts are, just tell me, could you be a Duggar wife? I would not. I would fail before I even got out of bed. All right, you guys, I'll be back in a little while.